looks ideal. Now everybody a little early. We are 12 seconds away. Everybody at the bridge, and here comes Kip Brown again on the outside. We are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark, it appears to be clean. We're racing. Bill Walk had to get off the throttle. Roberto hit it just fine and dandy. Steve David timed it perfect on the inside. Leads the field in turn number 1. Alberto in front. Dan, could the start be critical? He was there before Bill Walk in second.
Yeah, Jeff, your hometown boat, you know, he lagged behind a little bit, getting ready for the warm-up, but he spent a lot of time on the water Friday, a lot of time on the water yesterday, hitting those marks. Your leader, the U1, Miss Oh Boy Alberto, followed by the U16 Elan Plus with Dave Bill Walk, followed by the U17 Miss Active Water with Kip Brown.
Start is under review, but on the lead is Alberto and Steve David. He made a mistake yesterday. Bill Walk looked to make one here, not being at the line at full throttle. Alberto leads it. Where's Bill Walk? There he is. We'll come down to complete lap number 1. Start is good. Start was good. Alberto in front. Bill Walk charging though in second. We'll come down to complete lap number 1, and Bill Walk starting to reel him in. Alberto, lap 1 down. Bill Walk pulling on the outside, 4 more lengths back in second. Kip Brown in third. Steve has moved to the buoy row. We're going to turn 1. Alberto gets there first. Bill Walk back now, only 3 boat lengths. Dan, he's knocking on the door on the outside.
And Steve David just does such a wonderful job on the outside of the U16 Elan Plus. Bill Walk, Steve David still a little bit of the lead. Steve put his foot into it. The U1 with about a half a boat length, now a boat length lead, followed by the U16 Elan Plus with Dave Bill Walk. Right behind them, the U17 Miss Active Water with Kip Brown.
They approach turn 2. Bill Walk does not have to run this hard with that 400. He's trying to shut the hometown boat out maybe with points, as Bill Walk's taking the lead. Bill Walk in front. Alberto fights back. They're deck to deck off turn number 2 in the best race of the weekend. Alberto on the inside. Steve David, Bill Walk light on the outside. We'll come down and get the white flag. Bill Walk and David, deck to deck. 2 in the books and 1 to go, and it's a dead heat after 2 laps. Bill Walk trying to power on the outside. Alberto with the advantage on the buoys. Steve there first. Bill Walk there. Dan, they're deck to deck off the corner.
And Bill Walk makes a hard charge out of that turn and takes the lead over the U1 right now. Your leader, the U16 Elan Plus with Dave Bill Walk. Second, the U1 Oh Boy Alberto. Third, the U17 Miss Active Water with Kip Brown. Right now, Bill Walk with about a 3 boat length lead.
We mentioned those ground swells, Dan. Alberto hit one. Now Bill Walk's pulled out 6 boat lengths as they end the back straightaway. Final turn, final lap. Bill Walk with 56 career wins, looking for 57. Steve, one last chance. Time is running out. Those ground swells hurt the hometown boat. Under the bridge, Bill Walk 1,500 feet away from victory. The best heat of the weekend. Your winner of Unlimited 2C, Dave Bill Walk in the Miss Elan, making a 8 boat length advantage over the old boy Alberto and Steve David. The crowd into that one, Dan, along the shoreline. We can hear some oohs and ahs and cheers, but those ground swells hurt the Alberto off that first turn. We'll bring Kip Brown to the finish line. Kip Brown out of Maple Valley, Washington. 225 points for the Active Water. Dan, let's look at tabulations. Elam, 800. Alberto, 525
points, but I'm just kind of hearing this off and on, you know, so they think Madison, I don't know, lane infraction or something.
Dan, we've seen 2 superior heats here, 2A, 2C, 2B. Greg Hopp just had everybody covered there. We'll go ahead and add up the points, and we give you the totals after 2 heats. They're once again unofficial because the officials have to inspect the boats, make certain the turbine boats pass their fuel flow and their N2 performance. So we'll add these up. Give me about a minute or 2 and we'll come back with you.
Sounds great, Jeff.
They're saying 150 points now off the 16 and off of the 25 for lane violations for 2B and 2C, and $150. They've said it 3 times now. and $150 fines. That's what they're saying.
Okay.
Billy, Steve Davis said if he lost points, he wants to talk to a driver's rep. Oh, not a problem. Don Malone, please report to Steve Davis. Don Malone, please see Steve Davis.
2, 1, mark. 5-minute period has begun for Unlimited 3A. 5-minute period has started. All right, Dan, so important to get those countdowns because clock start format, you want to be at those buoys at 0. You want to get those watches set. 2 very important pieces of equipment, or 3 in that cockpit. Helmet, breathing restraint or breathing apparatus, countdown clock. So critical.
Yeah, and I tell you, this is just going to be a very, very important start for both the U3 Miss Chrysler Jeep with Jimmy King and the U100 MirageBoats.com with Greg Hopp. Both of these boats need to leave this heat with a win. Second place, they're on the proverbial bubble, as it were. The first place, you've secured yourself in the final heat coming up at 4:20 this afternoon, Jeff.
You have one boat coming in, the U100 MirageBoats.com. That's the burgundy black gold boat on the back straightaway. Greg Hopp came in here hoping to make the final. Right now with a win, he's in the driver's seat to make the front row. He's going to take a boat away from that front row that had a shot at winning this regatta on how the draws played out. Friday we came down here, perform, perform, perform. I love this new race format. They have performed.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I mean, I've become friends with Greg over the past few years. And when he came up after winning that heat, I walked up and gave him a hug. And he looked at me and said, finally, you know, and I just big fan of the Hopp family, big fan of Fred Leland, and would love to see him make a front row start in the final heat.
Let's talk about piston power. 600 points. Jimmy King. They came in Friday, had some tough luck, burned piston, but ever since then, things have gone their way on this Sunday. Good result on Saturday, couple seconds. A big 400 points here. Could put that World War II Allison on the front row. We'll have to see how things play out in the third section. But Hopp with a win, I'll go right on and say it'll guarantee him a spot. If Jimmy wins, we just got to see how the rest of the 3B and 3C goes.
Yeah, and I think I got to tell you, as you hear the roar of the piston boat go by, you got to think Jimmy King right now is in the catbird seat, other than being in lane 1, because he does have the horsepower, he does have the boat that can get the job done.
Lane selections for the third section was based on total combined points from your race total. Greg Hopp picked first. He took lane 2. To be safe, Jimmy King was right there. I want 1. It's the 2 boats to watch, the piston boat and the U100 MirageBoats.com up in turn 2. Kip Brown needs some help, needs a win. Miss Active Water, Kip the Rookie of the Year last year, and Dan, I've really been impressed with Kip's performance. He has come in here on a learning curve, but next week at the APBA Gold Cup, what he learned here, he could take to Detroit. That boat could be a factor.
Oh, you're right, Jeff, because, you know, it's a new boat, very unorthodox design with the cowling and whatnot, but, you know, Kip's just cutting his teeth right now, getting used to this new equipment, and next week, it's going to be all guns to go.
And he has made 2 great starts this weekend. First time in Madison, that could be a feather in his cap in this one, and especially next weekend.
Well, that's so key to this sport, especially on this race course, is that start, because whoever, again, other than that last team on the Elstrom K-Mac and 1, whoever comes out of 1 with the lead generally wins the heat. So it's going to be interesting to see how these 4 boats hit their mark here in about 1 minute and 13 seconds.
Unfortunately, the U22 has not left the trailer, so we'll be down to a 3-boat heat here in 3A. We're 3, 2, 1, mark. The 1-minute period has begun for the Midwest Tube Mills Unlimited 3A. Jimmy King, that red piston boat. Lane number 1, Miss Chrysler Jeep. Greg Hopp, he saw me after the second heat, Dan, and he said, well, Jeff, our boat is MirageBoats.com, and on the outside will be the Active Water with Kip Brown. Not unusual to have a boat name change in the middle of a U-boat race.
No, it's not. It's happened before, but you know, you take any sponsor dough you can get, Congratulations to Fred Leland and company for picking up the sponsor.
23 seconds away, everybody up in turn 2. This looks to be an ideal start. Jimmy King, lane 1, Greg Hopp in the middle, Kip Brown on the outside. We are at 12 seconds there at the bridge. I expect a clean smoking one. Here comes Kip Brown again on the outside. We're 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark, it's a clean start. We're racing Midwest Tube Mills Unlimited 3A, and Greg Hopp was there first in MirageBoats.com. Hopp, your leader. It is a good start. And Jimmy King takes the lead on the inside of the piston boat, but Hopp fights back on the outside in second.
And as they come out of turn number 1, it's Jimmy King on the inside in the U3 Miss Chrysler Jeep, followed closely by the U100 MirageBoats.com with Greg Hopp. Right behind him, about a rooster tail back, is the Mr. Active Water U17 with Kip Brown going under the Madison Milton Bridge. Your leader is the U3 Miss Chrysler Jeep.
Entering turn 2, Jimmy King in front, but Greg Hopp's hidden into Rooster Tail. Kip Brown's in the mix, only a Rooster Tail back of those two in third. King, your leader on the buoys. There's the piston boat. Where's Hopp? There he is, about 3 boat lengths back. Jimmy King driving a dandy on the buoy row. The turbocharged Allison is cooking it up on this Sunday afternoon in Madison, Indiana. We'll come down to complete lap number 1. Piston power in front, the Chrysler Jeep, making a 5 boat length advantage over Greg Hopp and MirageBoats.com. Kip Brown trying hard on the outside in third in Active Water. Into the turn. Piston powered fans, the Chrysler Jeep leads it. Greg Hopp in second, 7 boat lengths back.
And right now you've got the sentimental fan favorite, probably next to the U1 over on the U3, Miss Chrysler Jeep. Jimmy King in the lead, pretty much in control at this point. Greg Hopp not giving up in the U100. MirageBoats.com. And back in the back is the U17, Miss Active Water, Kip Brown. Right now Jimmy King doing a nice job as he goes into the turns, Jeff, and as he comes out of the turns, just hugging those pins.
At the end of the back straightaway, Jimmy King gets there first, maintains that 7 boat length advantage over Greg Hopp. In MirageBoats.com, Kip Brown in third spot, about 2.5 rooster tails back of the second place Hopp. Front 2 boats on the front straightaway. Jimmy King underneath the Milton Madison Bridge. Dan will look out to see if the white flag is displayed, and it's waving. 2 completed, 1 more to go for Jimmy King out of Memphis, Michigan, and Ed Cooper Jr.'s Chrysler Jeep. Now a 9 boat length advantage over Greg Hopp in MirageBoats.com. Kip Brown third in Active Water. Top 2 in turn 1. King gets there first. Dan, the World War II Allisons, singing a tune here in 3A.
Yeah, Jimmy King just letting that boat fly around that corner as he comes up the backstretch on the Kentucky side of the race course. Followed by Greg Hopp in the U100 MirageBoats.com. Kip Brown bringing up the rear, but right now it's Jimmy King's race to win. As he approaches the Madison Milton Bridge, he's in first, U100 MirageBoats.com in second, U17 Miss Active Water, Kip Brown in third.
Jimmy King entering turn number 2. These 400 points could be very valuable. Still some racing to take place. King now opens it up, a rooster tail and a half over Greg Hopp. Final turn, final lap for the piston boat. Jimmy King still looking for his first ever unlimited win. Could it happen later this afternoon? 1,500 feet away from victory. It's piston power and unlimited 3A. Jimmy King wins it in the Miss Chrysler Jeep Midwest Tube Mills Unlimited 3A. Making about a dozen boat length advantage over Greg Hopp in second in MirageBoats.com. Kip Brown will come down to get third in the Active Water. Dan will review it after I give the countdown coming up for Unlimited 3B.
Understood. Not understood what? I don't understand, but that's what we had to do.
Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. In approximately 30 seconds, we'll have the countdown for 10 to the 5 for Unlimited 3B. $20 seconds. 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. That's 10 to the 5 for Unlimited 3B, 10 to the 5 for Unlimited 3B. For Unlimited 3B, 5-minute period is underway. 4 minutes, 45 seconds until the start. 4:45 away for Unlimited 3B. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Time Warner Cable. Dan, I believe they're a new Unlimited Heat sponsor. Welcome aboard, Time Warner Cable.
Yeah, right now, Jeff, we got 3 boats on the water, the 2 red boats, the yellow and Kelly green boat. And right now they're out there just kind of slicing and dicing, figuring out where they want to be, figuring out when they got to be there so they hit their marks. Going under the Madison Milton Bridge right now, you have the U7 Graham Trucking with J. Michael Kelly. And we're ready for some more boat race action, Jeff.
Coming up on the 4-minute mark, Dan. So Jeff Bernard coming in here looking to get 400 points to definitely secure him a spot on the front row of the final. Madison, Indiana's Oberto being lifted into the water for 3C, and right now the hometown boat, they have their eyes on this one. You don't like to wish your competition bad luck, but they need some attrition and they definitely need some help, racing luck to go their way.
Yeah, they sure do. They definitely could stand for J. Michael to win this heat versus Jeff Bernard, and then in this next heat, they've got to give it all they've got. They've got to overcome that gremlin, or that villain, as it were, at this point in the ball game for the hometown fans, the U16 with Dave Milwaukee, the Miss Elam Plus. Thanks, man.
3:20 until the start. Red boat by the start-finish line buoy. That is the Graham Trucking. J. Michael Kelly gets the seat this year in Ted Porter's U7. J. Michael from Puyallup, Washington, just outside Seattle. The green and yellow boat with those green dragon throwback colors of the Miss Bardall. Brian Perkins from Black Diamond, Washington. And Greg O'Farrell's Whirlpool presents Miss Albert Lee. And Jeff Bernard slow up at the Milton Madison Bridge on the back chute. And the dominant red-white vertical, U5, FormulaBoats.com, last year's Madison Regatta winner. All these gentlemen are from the Seattle area. This is a Region 10 APBA inboard battle, turning unlimited battle here in Madison, Indiana.
Seattle-based drivers, Indiana-based team, Ted Porter, Decatur, Indiana, just done a wonderful job with this team. The bright red boats, the trucks, the people. I tell you, it is class act from top to bottom, and they are a force to be reckoned with in the sport of unlimited hydroplane racing.
Jeff Bernard just crossed the start-finish line buoy, 2:05 until the start, and I thought Jeff would do that. He's trying to loop through the infield, get his timing marks down. J. Michael Kelly slow here by the start-finish line buoy. And Dan, J. Michael with those 6:25, he has to win this one. This boat right here, the Graham Trucking, has to have those 400 for a chance at the front row. Good team tactics being to play. The 5 with a second place finish would make the front row. Allowing the teammate boat to win, that would maybe secure the Graham Trucking into the front row. We'll see how this plays out. 1:25 until the start.
Yeah, if I'm Ted Porter and, I'm looking at my team, I want both my boats on the front row. So, yeah, you probably do a little teamwork. You make sure, you try and make sure both boats finish. But, hey, if the 7 gets it, the 7 gets it.
If Graham Trucking wins, that'll give them 25 more points than the piston boat. We are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. 1 minute period has begun for Time Warner Cable, Unlimited 3B. But on the flip side, you're in the National High Point Championship battle. Jeff Bernard is right up there right now. Even though we're early in the season, this is the season opener, so this could play out. If the 7 wins, that could get them on the front row, even if the 5 finish second. So still a little bit of drama here in Time Warner Unlimited 3B. 30 seconds until the start. All 3 boats approaching the Milton Madison Bridge on the back chute. Actually, Brian Perkins leading them up there. He's at the apex, 20 seconds away. Everybody now at the exit pin at 17. This should be a dynamite start. Jeff Bernard in 1. J. Michael Kelly in 2. Brian Perkins in 3. They're at the bridge at 10 seconds. This will be a super clean start. We are now 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark, a clean start. We're racing in Time Warner Unlimited 3B. Brian Perkins led him across the line on the outside, and Whirlpool presents Albert Lee. It was a clean start. We look to the inside, and Jeff Bernard takes the lead in the farmeroftheboats.com, but Dan on his outside hip is J. Michael Kelly and Graham Trucking in second.
And as Bernard exits the turn, he does have about a rooster tail lead on his teammate, but J. Michael Kelly trying to make up for lost Graham Brian Perkins, still in the mix of things. Your leader, U5, farmeroftheboats.com, Jeff Bernard. Number 2, U7 Graham Trucking, J. Michael Kelly. U48 Whirlpool presents Albert Lee with Brian Perkins. Jeff, take him from the bridge.
It was a clean start. Your top 2 entering turn number 2 on the backstretch. Bernard gets there first, but Kelly's hidden in the rooster tail with Perkins. And now they're side by side off the corner. We got some racing left to do, and Time Warner Unlimited 3B, your defending Madison champion on the buoy row. Here comes J. Michael Kelly on the outside, and Graham Trucking is taking the lead. We'll come down to complete lap number 1. Graham Trucking in front by 2 boat lengths over Jeff Bernard. Third place to Brian Perkins. So Bernard has lost his lead. We mentioned possible team tactics. Graham Trucking there in front. Bernard tightens it up, and now Jeff regains the lead with J. Michael in the spray, Dan.
And Jeff Bernard just took the lead back into that turn. J. Michael Kelly right behind him right now. It's a 2-boat race. As a matter of fact, you can't even see the Graham Trucking for the rooster tail of the U5 farmeroftheboats.com. Jeff Bernard is your leader. Right on his tail is the U7 Graham Trucking, J. Michael Kelly, and the U48 Whirlpool presents Albert Lee with Brian Perkins.
We got them side by side entering turn number 2 on the back chute. Bernard on the buoys, J. Michael Kelly on his hip. Bernard there first. There's the 5, there's the 7 as they come off turn number 2 about a boat length apart. Jeff Bernard has the lead on the inside. J. Michael Kelly led lap 1, and here comes this 7 again on the outside as we'll come down to get the white flag. Bernard, your leader by a boat length. Here comes J. Michael. White flag is displayed. Kelly officially leads lap number 2 by 3/4 of a boat length as they enter turn number 1. Brian Perkins remains in third, but Bernard with that shorter way around regains the lead with Kelly back in second. Damn, this one's not over.
No, Jeff Bernard definitely has the shortest way around the track, coming out of the rollers in good shape. Right behind him on his tail, his teammate, J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking, followed by the Albert Lee with Brian Perkins. But right now, Jeff Bernard in the lead, but right behind him in the U7 Graham Trucking, his teammate, his partner, all out of Porter Racing, J. Michael Kelly. Jeff, take it.
Final turn, final lap for your top 2. Brian Perkins well back. If the 7 wins, they'll make the front row of the final, shutting out the fist. Oh, Bernard slowing! Your defending champion is slowed in turn number 1. This will shake up the front row of the final. Bernard has went dead in the water. J. Michael Kelly is underneath the Milton-Madison Bridge, and heartbreak for Jeff Bernard out of Kent, Washington. Dramatics here at the end of Unlimited 3B. Your winner of Time Warner Unlimited 3B, J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking, and Dan, oh my, this is shaking up things for the front row of the final.
Boy, Jeff, it sure has. He was just going there into turn 2, and all of a sudden the boat just went flat in the water. Don't know what happened, but boy, this does just mix things up for your final heat.
Brian Perkins gets second, and Whirlpool presents Miss Albert Lee, but Jeff Bernard is trying to re-spool the U5, and Dan, I got to get the countdown, so keep an eye on him. Attention to pits, in approximately 1 minute. We'll have the countdown for 10 to the 5 for Unlimited 3C in approximately 1 minute. We'll have the countdown for 10 to the 5 for Unlimited 3C. Elam, any position finish, front row of the final. They'll join the Graham Trucking, formoftheboats.com, Chrysler Jeep. An Elam no score, Oberto win. That'll tie him with the U100. Tiebreaker will go to the Oberto. That's the only way the hometown boat can make the front row of the final. Right now, any good finish for the Oberto should lock them as a trailer, but that's not where you want to start.
No, definitely not. Again, you talked about the last time the trailer boat was Mike Hansen in San Diego, and it's just going to be tough to do. But you know, you've still got to start and finish because you're still looking at season totals. You know, every point you pick up here is going to count towards the big prize at the end of the road come this fall.
You're exactly right, and every point you can get. 6-race season this year. 1 exhibition race will take place in August up in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. Have to score, you have to score well, and a couple of boats are off to a real good start, especially that bright orange one on the back straightaway with Bill Walk.
Yeah, I tell you, it should be no surprise to anyone. But, you know, even a year off, it's just they're a super team. Again, we've talked about it all weekend long. Performance. Well, Dave Billwalk, best setup man there is out there. He can set up a boat like nobody else. No disrespect to the hometown guys whatsoever, but when you go against the 16 and that bright orange rocket, you know you're going up against the best.
3 minutes and 5 seconds until the start. 3:05 away. Dan, give the fans our lineup again one more time. 3 minutes until the start.
Line them up one more time, cutting across the infield right now in lane 2, the U16 Elam Push. David Billwalk.
Thanks for your help.
Coming up the Kentucky side.
No problem.
Straight away, the hometown boat, the 2008 Driver of the Year, 2008 High Points champion, the U1. Oh boy, Oberto, driven by Steve David. And your third boat coming into turn 1 now, the U25 Superior Racing, Dr. Ken Muscatel piloting that ship.
Coming up on 225. Lane 1 vacant. Bill Walk will get the 2 slot. Steve David 3, Muscatel on the outside. Dan, Bill Walk just needs to start and finish. Do you think he'll run it hard in the first turn, just kind of see where he is at that point and see how it plays out?
I think you play it hard. You do race to win, doesn't matter what you're doing. I mean, these guys are competitors. You do race to win. But I think if he sees, you know, anything out of the ordinary, yeah, he's going to finish the heat. You know, Steve David, get a win a heat, because at this point you've got to get into the orange boat's head, because you've got Detroit a week from today. Yeah. You've got to be able to compete there. So a win over the 16 here in Heat 3C would be making a statement going into next week's Gold Cup.
1:35 until the start. 1:35. Now, Dan, me personally, I've always loved the traditional draw. I think it's the fair thing to do, but for Madison fans, it's just not fared out well this weekend with Oberto drawing the Elam in 3 consecutive heats to open up the season as we get ready for the 1 minute period.
You know, curiously enough, go ahead, we have the count.
Coming up now on 3, 2, 1, mark. The 1 minute period has begun for the Active Military and Veterans Memorial Unlimited 3C. Dr. Muscatel up early on the clock, followed by Vilwalk. And Steve David just across the start-finish line buoy on the backstretch in the Oberto.
You know, curiously though, Jeff, yesterday in 1C, you know, Dave Vilwalk took lane 2, Steve David took lane 1. Today, same scenario later in the day, and Steve opts to go out to 3.
30 seconds until the start. Muscatel up there early at the apex, followed by Vilwalk and Steve David. 25 seconds. Muscatel a little bit early on his timing. And Vilwalk a little early. Steve's in ideal position in the middle lane. Here we come down to the start-finish line. We're at 12 seconds. Muscatel at the bridge. Vilwalk and David behind him. Ken could be early, but David and Vilwalk could have a smoking start as we're now 3, 2, 1. Mark, the Oberto had the most momentum at the start-finish line. Steve David leads the field in turn number 1. In the middle, Dave Vilwalk in second in the Elam. It was a good start. In turn number 1, the Rooster Tail's flying. Vilwalk carved out a corner like an RL car, and he leads it off the corner.
16 comes out of the corner with the lead with the U1. Oh boy, Alberto right behind him, the U25 Superior Racing, Dr. Ken Muscatel. But right now, Dave Vilwalk, he just hit that turn so well. He went in behind, came out ahead, and right now he's got about a Rooster Tail lead on the hometown boat.
What a phenomenal turn by Dave Vilwalk in turn number 1. He has come to race this weekend in Madison. Vilwalk in turn 2, 7 boat length advantage over the Alberto in second. Ken Muscatel in third. Vilwalk swings it out now into about a lane 3 sequence as he'll come down to complete lap number 1. The Elstrom family's Miss Elam, your 07 champion. Things going their way this weekend in Madison. 1 lap complete. Oh, and Vilwalk right there at the start-finish line, boy. He got off the throttle, making an 8 boat length advantage over the Alberto in second with Steve David. Ken Muscatel remains in third. And Dan Cole, you said it in the warm-up period, Vilwalk's a competitor. He came to race, he's laying it to the wood.
Yeah, he sure did. Vilwalk's just throwing that boat, and I tell you, it's loose, it's getting plenty of air, and look how fast it is. He's just making that lead bigger and bigger. Your leader, the U16 Elam Plus, the bright orange boat, David Vilwalk. Behind him, the U1, the hometown favorite, Oh Boy Alberto with Steve David, Dr. Ken coming out of 1 as the Elam approaches the Madison-Milton Bridge.
Vilwalk leads it. Let's make it 10 boat lengths now over the Alberto. Top 2 entering turn 2. Vilwalk, of course, gets there first. Swings it outside. The bright fluorescent orange boat out of Ballard, Washington in the Seattle area. Dave Vilwalk, 56 career wins, and right now looks to be threatening for 57, about 4:25 this afternoon. White flag is displayed. 2 in the books and 1 more to go for Dave Vilwalk. 12 boat lengths over Steve David and Oh Boy Alberto, and Steve flying the Alberto back in second. Ken Muscatel remains in third. Vilwalk in turn number 1. Right now, Dan, everything going the Orange's way.
Yeah, Jeff, I tell you, give Steve David credit. He's got that boat just flying, trying to keep up, maybe trying to find a way to get by him, something happens, but he's not taking his foot out of it. Excellent performance by the Alberto, but your leader still the U16 Elam Plus with David Vilwalk, followed by the U1 Oh Boy Alberto with Steve David as they approach the Madison-Milton Bridge once again.
Vilwalk appears to be slowing just ever slightly. Final turn, final lap. The Alberto's got it down to 8 boat lengths. Taking it easy here. Final turn, final lap. There's the Elam. There's the Alberto. It's down to about 8 boat lengths, but Vilwalk knows he's back there under the bridge. They approach the checkered flag, and your winner of Unlimited 3C is Dave Vilwalk in the Miss Elam. Make it 8 boat lengths over Steve David in U1. Oh boy, Alberto. Ken Muscatel up in turn number 2. He will come down to get 225 points in the red, white, and blue Superior Racing underneath the Milton Madison Bridge. And Dan, good to see Dr. Muscatel. They came in here with a boat they're not used to from Fred Leland and Dr. Muscatel.